Kentucky's Cottage Food Laws. So if you're looking to create a home-based business selling food from home, in this video you're going to watch from beginning to end, we're going to run down what you can and can't do, how you can sell your food products, labeling, and everything else in between. And this is Cottage Food Laws, a brand new channel here on YouTube dedicated to you, the home-based food entrepreneur. Definitely hit the subscribe button and bell notification because we have tons of great information, not only on every state, but how to market, how to find farmers markets, how to promote, how to label, how to package, where to find sources for ingredients, and so much more for you, the home-based food operator. All right, so definitely check out the following. Now, in the past, Kentucky was one of the few states that did not have a basic cottage food law, believe it or not. It actually limited the ability of individuals to sell homemade food. However, this actually changed in 2018 when an amendment, HB 263, was made to allow everyone to participate in the cottage food operations businesses. Now, under this law, individuals operating from home can now become home-based processors and prepare various types of non-perishable foods to be sold directly to consumers within the state. Now, it is important to note, though, that indirect sales through retail stores, restaurants, or even shipping products are not allowed specifically in Kentucky. Unfortunately, there are other states that do allow some of those, but Kentucky is not up there just yet. Home-based processors in Kentucky can sell their products up to a cap of $60,000 a year. Now, additionally, they are required to register with the health department and pay a fee of $50. Unlike some other states, Kentucky does not require inspections or food safety training for cottage food operators. Now, if you find this helpful so far, definitely give us a big thumbs up. And as I said before, if you're not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button. We're going to dive even deeper into this and find out specifically what we can make. For those interested in making higher risk canned foods, such as acidified foods and low acid canned foods, there is an opportunity to do so as a home-based microprocessor under Kentucky's microprocessor law. This designation allows individuals to engage in the production of these types of canned products. However, specific guidelines and regulations must be followed to ensure proper food safety practices are maintained. Now, lastly, it's really important to note that while Kentucky has taken significant steps actually to provide opportunities for home-based processors, it's always advisable to stay informed about any updates and changes to the law periodically, every year or so. You want to double check to make sure, and we're going to try to keep you updated here on Cottage Foods Laws with any updates on every state as they become available. Some bills actually got changed this year in 2023. Now, it's always advisable to stay informed, like I said, and with the changing of the laws. Check with relevant health department or local authorities, or just keep track here on Marketing Foods Online. Brand new channel, Cottage Foods Laws. Now, let's dive into it. Now, what are you able to sell, Damien? That's something I'm interested in selling. Where can you actually sell your products from home? Where can you do that? Now, this is something that's unique to Kentucky. You have events like public events, fairs, festivals, farmers markets. You can definitely do that as well. From your home, you can actually have, if you're comfortable with that, you can have your customers come to your home and pick up your products if you're making it for them specifically. Now, it does say that you can sell online, but they have to be delivered in person or picked up. You can't ship to another state. Keep that in mind. E-commerce, as it's known, is something that you can operate in Kentucky, but the drawback is it has to be delivered by you directly to the consumer. Now, lastly, you can sell at roadside stands. Of course, you see them popping up all over the place. Every state has them. You can sell your products there as well. Just make sure that it's on the list of items that you can and cannot make. We're going to go over that in a second, but you don't want to make products that you can't under the cottage food laws there. Now, allowed services such as I mentioned up, home pickup, you can have that, or delivering in your person, in yourself directly to your customers. Now, some of the prohibited places where you can sell, these are areas that you're not allowed to sell to. These would be retail stores, restaurants, places like that. If you're making like a spice blend, for instance, you can't sell it to restaurants for them to turn around and use it in one of their dishes. That's not allowed just yet, unfortunately. Now, other services, mail order outside of the state, and wholesale and catering. So if you want to sell your products in wholesale or in bulk, you're going to have to get a commercial kitchen and operate as such. Catering is something that's still not allowed directly from your home kitchen. Those would be prohibited items. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what is allowed. So what are some of the foods that you can make? This is going to be breads, cakes, wedding cakes, brownies and such, cookies, muffins and biscuits, scones, cake pops, which are still certainly popular, cupcakes, pizzelles, breads as well. Just keep in mind that when you do breads, things of cheeses, if they're stuffed with a cheese or a meat or a protein, this would be something that you're not allowed to do because those are time or temperature sensitive items, and that's non-potentially hazardous, not going to be something that you can make. That would be a potentially hazardous product. Now, don't let this limit you, though. I said cakes, wedding cakes, cookies, brownies, muffins, and scones. you have to keep in mind there are literally hundreds of variations of cookies that you could be making, different types of brownies, different types of cakes. Even if you want to do wedding cakes, you can do that as well. Just keep in mind that you may need them to come and pick up that cake from your home, or you can offer that as a delivery directly to your customer. All right, so next up, candies. Now, you can do fudge. If you're into lollipops, go ahead. If you're into chocolates, go ahead. Cotton candies, truffles, nut brittles you can make as well. Cashew brittle, peanut brittle, walnut brittle. You get the idea. There's a huge variety of different products. Don't let this limit you with this list. If you think, wow, there's only about 20 items on here. There's so many variations, though, of each of these items. Honey, you're allowed to do. If you want into syrups, flavored syrups for different types of cooking or even pancakes and such, you're allowed to get into those as well. Dried goods, let's get into that. So tea you can do. You can do herbs and blends, dried fruits, dried vegetables, spices, and seasonings. That is a huge one. I also offer a consulting business, so if you're looking for any additional consulting, definitely check the links down below. We have half-hour and one-hour calls directly with me. I've actually been in the food industry for the better part of 30 years. I operate e-commerce businesses with my wife today, actually, still, where we sell our candies and snacks and items online from our commercial kitchen. I've actually consulted over 800 small businesses since 2017. So if you do need some help, let me know down below. Click on that link, and we can get you set up with an hour consult. Now, other ones that you can do, this was really interesting. Pet food and pet treats are allowed. That's actually very interesting because many states do not allow. They allow you to do pet treats, but pet food is very interesting. Pastries, you could do pies, but keep in mind they can't have any type of cream fillings or any type of meat pies and that such. Remember, if it's a item that needs to be refrigerated or it's time or temperature sensitive, that's a no-no. Next up, fruit butters, preserves, jams and jellies, marmalades. Those are on the list as well. Snacks, you could do like nuts and seeds are allowed. Granola, that in and of itself is literally dozens and dozens of different types of snacks products. Marshmallows, fruit leathers, kettle corn, popcorn, crackers, pretzels, chocolate-covered items, caramel corn, vegetable chips. So all of these are fantastic items. And again, they lend themselves to creating a multitude of different flavor profiles and different flavors to choose from. All right, so let's go over a little bit of what's prohibited. These are going to be items that are not going to be allowed to be made at home. Unfortunately, just yet, they haven't been allowed yet. This would be perishable baked goods. As I mentioned before, if it's time or temperature sensitive, that's a no. Pickles, ketchup, oils, chutneys, pasta noodles, juices. I get this all the time on our other channel, Marketing Food Online, which has 120,000 subscribers. I get asked all the time, hey, Damien, I want to start a fresh juice company from home. Unfortunately, you can't because of the processing, the pasteurization and such, the way that they're bottled, the way that it's packaged. You'd have to get into a commercial kitchen. Confections that have alcohol in it. So if you've got a liqueur or a liquor in those specific confections or candies, that's not allowed. Salsas, mustards, vinegars, low-acid canned foods. Empanadas and tamales, unfortunately, because most of them are stuffed with like a protein, like a beef or chicken, that you have to do in a commercial kitchen. Applesauce, nut butters, acidified foods, fermented foods, carbonated drinks, and meat jerky. So if you're into making beef jerky or chicken jerky, you'll, again, have to be in a different setting for that. Now, the only types of syrups, by the way, that are actually allowed are like a maple syrup or a soy gum syrup, as they're known. You also can't touch any candy with your bare hands, so you want to make sure that you are wearing gloves at all times. Let's take a look at the next thing up as far as the limitations. So here's a few things to keep in mind. Number one, the sales limit is $60,000 a year. So actually, believe it or not, that's not bad. I mean, as a side business, an extra $60,000 a year on your paycheck is pretty good. A couple of things you can't do while you're making the cottage food. Children are restricted. So if you have an area in your kitchen where you're producing or processing your cottage food in the state of Kentucky, you want to make sure that children are not present at the time. Reason being is that, if they're running around and their hair, for instance, gets into the food, or they're running around and they're in the area that could be dangerous or potentially hazardous to the food product that you're making for your customers, you kind of want to stay clear of that, okay? Commercial equipment, that's next up. That's prohibited too. So you can't have like commercial size equipment like blenders, mixers, ovens, commercial ovens with oven ranges. It has to be stuff that you can be used from home. You got to also keep in mind too, you have to use your primary residency. So you can't go to a friend's house, produce a bunch of cookies because you just want to hang out with your best friend and make some cookies and then sell them. Make sure you're doing it in the kitchen that is specifically designated for it. Pets are restricted too. Many states, actually, that I know of, almost all of them, are not allowing any type of pet in the area. So if you've got, again, a section of your kitchen where you're preparing these products, you don't want to have pets running through that area. That's kind of a no-brainer just for sanitary purposes. You don't want any hair follicles from the cats or the dogs or cats jumping on the counter while you're making food for other people. Not a good idea. Now, briefly, as I mentioned before, you cannot ship it over state lines. This is known as interstate sales. Okay, once the product crosses state lines, that is actually considered an interstate sale. That is something you got to be in a commercial setting to do. Okay, also direct sales specifically to the customers only. You got to deliver it in person, so keep that in mind. All right, so next up, labeling. So the state of Kentucky's cottage food laws do require, like every state, to have specific information on the label. Now, the first thing right off the bat is allergens. You want to make sure you have an allergen warning label. Anything like you have peanuts, tree nuts, wheat, soy, eggs, and milk, you must list which of these are present in the product itself, and make sure that you list them, that if you have any kind of cross-contamination or if they're found in the kitchen where you're working, even though they're not in the product, you may want to put it on there just in case, because people have allergic reactions to certain ingredients, so you don't want to get people sick. Business address. Now, this has to be the address where the product is actually being produced. That means that your home address has to be the address on the label. Sorry, but you cannot use a P.O. box. Also, you can't use your grandmother's house down the street, or if she's in another city, you have to use yours. Next up is your business name. So you do have to come up with a business name. This is interesting because a lot of people don't realize it, but you really need to get also an LLC, and you need to get incorporated. You need to create an LLC because it's not something that's required in cottage food business, but you have no legal protection from potentially getting sued or somebody suing you for any reason because you were under cottage food laws. You need to make sure you get an LLC. Now, if you don't know how to do that, actually, there's a link down in the description. You can click on that. We have some great resources available for that, too. You can actually create an LLC online in like 10 minutes. But you have to have a business name. So if it's, Damien's Custom Cakes, the name of the business, Damien's Custom Cakes, needs to be on the label. The date it was produced. This is actually interesting because many states don't require this, but the date produced, if you make it on, January 15th, 2023, you need to put that on the label so people know how long it's been made in advance. Next up, extremely important, ingredients. You must be listed from the highest to the lowest of the usage. So, for an example, you're making chocolate chip cookies. The biggest ingredient, the most that weighs the most, is potentially the flour, right? Because that's the biggest part of a cookie, followed probably by the sugar, then the eggs, and the milk. So from most used to least used, or weight from highest to lowest, you need to make sure that's on the label of the ingredients. Next up, the net amount. Okay, so for instance, if you have something by weight, net weight would be 16 ounces if it's a pound. Now, if you're doing something like 24 cookies, let's say 2 dozen cookies, you need to have 24 cookies stated on there. So when the customer's buying it, they know they're getting a specific amount, a specified quantity, or a specified weight. Next up, the product name. Of course, if it's, let's say chocolate chip cookies or sugar cookies, you need to have the name of it. Now, that's different from the business name. Make sure you understand that. If this is new to you, you got to make sure the product name is the name of the product, obviously. So it's the cookies, chocolate chip cookies, sugar cookies, peanut butter cookies, whatever it may be. And lastly, you need to have a statement. Now, this is a disclaimer letting the consumer know that your product that they're about to buy is actually produced at a home kitchen, not an inspected commercial kitchen. There's a big, big difference in that, so you need to specify that. Almost every state, if I recall, requires that to be on the label. So you want to make sure you've got a little bit of a disclaimer, okay? So all in all, that's a good rundown of what you can expect when you want to start a cottage food business from Kentucky. If you have questions about this, let me know down below the video. If you have any other topics you want us to cover here, if you have questions about cottage food in general, let us know in the descriptions as well. We're a brand new channel here, but we are not new to YouTube. We actually have 5 food entrepreneur channels. We have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and millions of views on all of our channels. So you can check those links down below. I'll see you on our next video.